dramas here. Now, everybody has heard of Bible Black in the anime community. It's like one of the oldest anime that everybody has to have seen. It's like the Star Wars saga of the anime world. Starting in the middle, going to the beginning, and then continuing at the end. It was so ahead of its time, ranging from animation to plot development. Today's snowflakes couldn't handle the grittiness, the dark tones, the overall edginess of the anime. A little warning if you're going to watch it. It is pretty gruesome and features killing. And not like the one you see in One Piece, where they stick a hand through a guy and he's like, "Ah yeah, no blood, I'm good." He does die though. If occultic stuff is for you, then you will love this shit. It's like drama and horror, like slice of life but in a fucked up way. And overall it looks memorable, nothing similar comes to mind at all. The closest style wise I can think of is the Hellsing series. It has these contrasty shadows that seem quite out of place, but at the same time they like make the whole unique art style of the anime. But now, on to the beginning of the series. We're gonna start with the OG over here, the so-called La Noche de Valpurgis. On the timeline, it's in the middle, but this is where our epic starts. It's a dark and dank place. People chanting Bible verses or some Latin stuff and BAM! Human sacrifice. What else you need? Now we're at school. After a strong first impression, it's good to calm down a bit. We see that Minase here is the main character. Or is he though? I'm pretty bad with names. Yep, he is. Not gonna lie, this is a horror anime, so don't expect to see too many other men here. But I mean, who would want to, like, are you gay or something? Now, Minase seems to be an upstanding citizen, but we see that he is practicing witchcraft. Yeah, this anime doesn't fuck around. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna make you shit your pants witchcraft. It's like, I'm gonna fucking take over your mind and make you do crazy shit witchcraft. At the same time, we see our anti-hero Kitami in action, and she seems to be an even bigger magician. We get to know what her motives is, that she is looking for a perfect person to sacrifice. But wait, there's more. We have one more sub-story here. It's about these girls who practice witchcraft out of hobby, but they are like super basic bitches, which means that they don't know nothing yet. Wait, they don't know nothing. So that means they do know something. Yeah, they do know something. Anyways, we hear that 12 years ago a tragic accident happened at the school, and it was named La Noche de Valpurgis. Like a shit ton of people died after a sacrifice had gone wrong, and the teacher, Kitami, wants to recreate it. At the same time, the basic bitches want to recruit Minase because he has the Black Bible, and pretty much all three groups get together, intertwine, and start working towards the same goal. But it doesn't end up quite exactly like that, since everybody has their own separate motives. This is only 6 episodes long, but there is a shit ton of stuff happening here. Everybody has their own goals, awesome lore, epic magic battle at the end. This is probably where Harry Potter got its influence from. But it hasn't aged that well. At a certain point the character says, "Fax me a map," and I just plain laughed for a solid minute there. Was that seriously a thing before Google Maps? Like, I don't know how to come at your place, fax me a map. Thank you, modern technology. But for the sake of the video I have to spoil now a bit. At the end, Minase's childhood friend, Imori, is found to be a perfect sacrifice. And she is also a complete badass. When confronted with the teacher and her magic, she straight up smacks a magic ball out of her hand. Damn girl, you don't even know magic exists in this world. You see a freaking somebody having a magic ball in their hand and you're like, what? Bitch, not today. But that's not enough, so she gets taken hostage. I mean, what you gonna do? This is where Minase catches his balls and tries to rescue her, but can't, so he gets kicked out of the magician school circle of people. But it goes even deeper. We see that we have a redhead sensei, Takashiro, who apparently was the sole survivor of the Noche de Valpurg. And it turns out, what a twist, that the blonde was actually the person they tried to sacrifice at that night. And the reason she wants to do another sacrifice is because her body is decaying and she needs to find a new host. But thankfully the sacrifice is stopped at the right time. Minase falls in love with Imori and they live happily ever after. Or do they? Since at the end there is another twist stating that the ritual actually worked and now Kitomi is in the body of Imori. And this is some brutal shit, not for the faint of heart for certain. Now, Origins, as the name states, is the first part of the Star Wars trilogy. Yes, that also means that it's the weak part of the Bible Black quantology. Pretty much we meet up with a redhead, who is in the school and practicing with tarot cards, and wants to start a club, but the student body are assholes and don't let them. So they translate some Latin books and decide to go hardcore straight up in that bitch and enslave everyone. And also we see that Kitami used to be cool. Like, she didn't used to be bad at all until they tried to sacrifice her. I mean, that does change people, so no arguments there why she turned out like that. Solid explanation. This arc encompasses issues we have even in today's times, and that is not to fucking bully other people. Especially if they're working with dark arts. They might enslave you. This is one of the weirdest ones. It starts after the original and shows us where all the characters are at this point in time. Not really offering that much story-wise, but from every episode it is concluded that they are preparing for something big, since they are collecting something for a new ritual. The final part of the saga. The one that decides it all. This series is probably also where Star Wars took their influence from to make their new TV show. Pretty much everybody is grown up. We see that Imari is working with the police force, but how? She had Goldie trapped in her, right? Exactly. The redhead trapped her inside her with a seal. But she gets out and tries to sacrifice some more. This time the plot development is around the Spear of Longinus, which apparently came from a meteorite and was used as one of the spears to pierce Jesus' stomach. Dear God, they are really going in with the Bible lore. This time again we have three main plots. The guys who want to take over the world, others who want to resurrect the Black Bible. What? I didn't tell the Black Bible was destroyed in the first series. Whoops. And some who try to find the devil's partner. Read the Bible if you want to know more. We even see a nun practicing jutsus. This is probably where Naruto took its influence from. We get a pretty hardcore ending and then poop, it's finished. Although it ends up saying the end, they still hint that another season might come. I mean, if Disney buys them out like they did with Star Wars, then surely they can milk it for some more money. So it's always good to keep your options open. This is pretty brutal. I wouldn't recommend watching it if you're under 18 years of age. I think this series has a really strong art direction. It separates itself from the rest and makes it incredibly memorable, even decades into the future. Like, you show a still frame to somebody in the anime community and they'll be like, oh hell yeah, that's Bible Black, son. I watch that every night before I go to bed. And even though the plot is solid, there is a lot of filler in between. The episodes are 30 minutes long, but there is around 15 to 20 minutes of filler in between, which is a real shame. There is just so much mundane and repetitive stuff that happens in between that contributes pretty much nothing to the story, which I wasn't that big a fan of, but if you skip that part or just fast forward through it, it's good. I'd say it's completely worth it. They even made a game of it. Holy shit. 10 megabytes. What kind of a future are we living in? My old 3360 could run that shit. And now, I have been going on about how every mainstream anime has these bland characters, but here they are freaking well developed. Like, this is actually pretty good character-wise, except Minase. He's useless. Overall, the plot is solid, it's neatly tied together, and all the different arcs and seasons really tie it down. It's a solid 9 out of 7. Wait, I can have 2 of them. Bibbidi Babbidi Boop. Hell yeah! Best book ever.